Self-love is very hard. It is very hard for everyone. Even the most confident, self-assured people can have moments of doubt and moments where they are insecure and they're not sure how to move forward or what to do. We all have our weaknesses. We all have things that we don't like about ourselves. And self-love is learning to love yourself in spite of that. This video came about from a conversation I had with someone that thought the concept of self-love was completely cliche. Couldn't understand the importance of it in regard to a relationship and wanting a relationship. And why is it, what does it matter whether or not I like myself or I care or love myself or not when I'm dealing with someone else? And it is imperatively important for yourself in all of your relationships, your familial relationships, your friendships, your business relationships, and especially in your romantic relationships. Self love is something that is a hard fought, hard won battle for some people. I would say mostly for everybody. It takes a long time for people to get to a place where they love themselves. And regretfully, some people never do. And I hope this video finds you when you need it, so that way maybe there's something here in these the bullet points I have and in this discussion that makes it start to click into place for you. Because I know even for myself, it took a long time. I was told that I had to love myself better. I had to take care of myself. Self-care and self-love were not things I had an innate understanding of. I understood them as a concept, but not an innate, like, heart to heart understanding of what it meant. So, what is the basic concept of self love? It is being okay in your own skin. It's being comfortable in your own skin. It's being okay being alone with your thoughts and being alone in your own presence. Self love is knowing when to set boundaries, when to you need to push yourself a little bit more, when it's time to rest. That may also dovetail into self-care. It's not pushing yourself repeatedly so hard that you burn out. It is acknowledging the little wins that you've had along the way, along with the big wins. It is it's really just being kind of okay in your own skin and being able to look at yourself in the mirror and like the person you see. Do we all have things that we don't like about ourselves? Abso-fucking-lutely. There, we all have that. We all see the one flaw, the multiple flaws that we all have. It is a given. You know, there's things about ourselves that we see that we don't like, but can you accept them? That's the question. And that is the question. Can you look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love myself? Say, hello there, beautiful, or hello there, handsome. Can you look at yourself and be like, you know what? I look good today. This is a good look for me. My hair looks good. I look pretty. I look fabulous. I'm looking quite handsome or dapper for the gentleman in the audience. Can you do that? Can you look at yourself and think that, today's a good day? Not every day. We all have those days where we look at ourselves in the mirror and I look like I am 1 foot away from knocking on death's door. I get it. We've all been there. We all understand. But it's being also okay with those moments, being like, you know what? This is as good as it's going to get today. We're fine. It's just fine. It's also being okay being alone. Knowing that you are at peace and at home in your own skin, and that you can be left alone to your own thoughts and not constantly have to have someone else either validating you, someone else's company to keep the thoughts away. We all have dark thoughts. We all have circular or cyclical thoughts that are not good for us. Our inner demons will all come out to play from time to time, but do you know how to quiet them? Do you know how to combat them? Sometimes the answer will be a resounding yes, and some days the answer is maybe, not really, and that's okay. It's perfectly okay to not be strong all the time, to not be able to just wallow a little bit. Just don't get stuck there. Don't get stuck there. Get back to the vibrant, strong, and loving person that you are. Now, one of the things that a lot of people do that is detrimental on so many levels is the comparison. This is not only a thief to your own joy, it can lead to jealousy, it can lead to envy, it can lead to a lot of negative emotions, it can lead to depression because it's why do they have something I don't? Look at them. They have the significant other. They were able to get a new car. They have a house. They're doing so well. They can travel. Um, their business is thriving. What else? You know, how come they have what I don't have? Why can't I find a person like that? Why can't I have a family like that? They come from such, all families are dysfunctional on some level, but some people come from decent families or good families where they're loving and they're caring, and some people look at that and go, why can't I have that? Why can't my family be like that? That is the absolute worst thing you can ever do. Do not compare yourself to others. Let me say it a little louder again for the people in the back. Do not compare yourself to others. That will only hurt you because you are on your own path. You are on your own path. You have your own journey. You have your own lessons to learn. And you don't know what they went through or what they are going to go through that may rock the very foundation of their life, rock their relationships. You just don't know. And you have to learn the lessons you have to learn in life. Do not compare because you're doing probably a lot better than you give yourself credit for. And if you're not allowing yourself to see that, if you're always pushing, it's never good enough. You're always pushing for the next big thing. Okay, I accomplished this goal. Now, how do I get to this goal? I accomplished this. How do I get there? You're not taking the time to realize and to celebrate the victories that you have, small and large. Because I remember when I was promoted to the job I am now, I kind of sat at my desk and was like, oh, well, now what do I do? What do I work toward now? I was happy, but it was kind of like, okay, well, I attained that goal. Now what? And it kind of sucked some of the joy. It temporarily sucked some of the joy out of the promotion, out of the new thing I had gotten that I had worked so hard to attain. I didn't let myself have that moment, that joy, that, we did it. We've accomplished it. We proved our worth. Let's just sit and enjoy this for a little bit and just breathe in it. Don't do that. Don't keep setting the bar so high that you're forever chasing it without realizing how far you've come. Allow yourself to celebrate that. Now, one reason why self love is so important in relationships, especially a romantic relationship or a parental relationship with your child, it is putting the burden of your happiness on someone else. And no one on this planet can carry that burden. If you can't find the peace within to love yourself, you are potentially setting up something so that you will ruin your future relationships. No one can carry that burden because you have to be the source of your own happiness. You have to be the source of your own joy, your own your own joy, your own fulfillment. You have to be the one to do it. You have to connect to your higher self, try to get into alignment, use meditation, you can use prayer, you can use affirmations. You have to figure out how to stay in that kind of alignment. Are you going to do it all the time? No. No. You won't. But you also can't put that burden on someone else, on a child or on a significant other, because they are the source of their own happiness, and they're going to have bad days. They're going to have moments when they need to come to you to buoy them up. And if you're solely reliant on them and their bad mood affects you, what are you going to do? You're both going to be in a bad mood, and you're just going to make it worse because you're both snipping and sniping at one another. I mean, yes, that does happen, and generally it's go to your corners and, everybody calm down. But you can't put that kind of burden on someone, especially someone you love, because they just can't carry it. And it can very easily lead to resentment or lead to a sense of burnout, because there has to be, you need an exchange in a relationship. You need open communication. You both have to be each other's support system, because there are going to be days when the other person just really needs a safe harbor and a place to land. And you cannot let someone else's mood affect you. Will it happen? You're human. Of course it will. But if you can be aware enough or cognizant enough of that, you can try to stop it from happening. You can try to switch gears. Depending again on the situation, it may be very difficult to do, but it can be done. Are you going to be perfect at it? Not all the time. I mean, I'm being realistic with you. As much as I want you to excel, I don't want to, again, I don't want to set the bar so high that you're like, well, why can't I do this? You are doing it. But it's an imperfect art because we're human and we let our emotions and our egos get in the way. And the ego can be incredibly, at times, destructive. People pleasing. There's a lot of people pleasers out there. I myself am one of them. Or as Charlotte Dobre likes to say, we are reformed people pleasers. It's the sense that you are only able to be loved when you are doing things for others. And that generally is more than likely a learned behavior in some form or another, that you found that you got a lot of accolades and praise by doing things for people. But in doing so, it meant your boundaries just got bulldozed. You were always bending backwards to help someone else or to adjust to someone else's schedule. They didn't really want to work with you, or you know, they kind of just ignored your needs. So that can be very draining because you're always pouring into someone else. Hopefully, there were those that gave back, but in a people pleasing relationship, that's not always the case. Sometimes it takes the other person, they have to be aware enough to realize, I'm doing all the taking. Let me give back to this person. And in some cases, some people pleasers have a very hard time accepting help. They have an exceptionally hard time being like, oh no, I'm okay. I'll just, carry on. The next week's video is going to talk somewhat about that, but you have to also be open to receiving. Self-love means that you are willing to receive. You have to be open to receive love. You have to be open to be receptive to help, to the things that people want to give you, which can also be hard because there is an element of fear there, because you have to be vulnerable. You have to be open enough and vulnerable enough to let people in and to let people see you. And that is terrifying. I am not a vulnerable person, not at all. It is something that I struggle with and work with daily. And in those moments when I find myself allowing myself to open up, allowing myself to let people get a glimpse into my past or into what's going on, people are a lot more receptive. And all of a sudden you become a real person to them. You're not a stoic. You aren't just this figure of a person that, oh yeah, I work with that person, or oh yeah, I live with that person, I've been friends with that person. It lets people see you for who you are, your flaws and all, so to speak, or the weird and quirky traits about you. You let them out. And that is also terrifying. And when you're a people pleaser, you don't want to do that. You bend, you adjust, you adapt to the people around you, because love is, to you, you have felt that love is conditional. And love, If you find that you are in relationships where that love is one-sided and it is indeed conditional, and you start setting those boundaries and you start loving yourself and you start saying no and you start pushing back when people are like, "Well, this is when I'm available." Well, I am not available during those times. This is when I am available. Those are the people that are going to start leaving your life, because when you start to choose yourself and you start to align with yourself, you find that that which no longer serves you starts to fade away. It gets severed. And then you are left with a far more aligned version of yourself, but better relationships. And by releasing those old relationships, releasing those old habits, those traits, those um, belief systems, you start allowing other things to come to you. You allow better things to come to you because you are open to receiving. You choose yourself. And this year, the year of the fire horse, it's meant to be a year of freedom, like fast moving energy. A lot of people probably have, some people have probably really experienced that, other people haven't. But one of the things is it's a year of freedom. And for some people, freedom means choosing you. It's acknowledging your own self worth and acknowledging that you deserve better, that you are worthy of the things that you want in life, whatever they may be, and that are you're worthy, you're valuable, you're competent, you're capable, you're wise. And by starting to do that, there is a certain freedom in that because you stop caring what other people think. Now there may be very much people in your life whose opinions you value, whose thoughts that you value. That doesn't have to change, but you can take their opinion, take bits and pieces out of it that you like, and then discard the rest. And you can do that from a place of alignment and from a place of self-worth and acknowledging, well, they're right about some stuff, they're wrong about some stuff, or it's also taking the criticisms and knowing where you have to grow, where you have to evolve. So I did a short on mirror work, and this is a great way to start to change your perspective, because changing your perspective is incredibly important. Came up quite a bit actually in some of the tarot readings I did for people recently. A lot of them, almost all of them, were told you need to change your perspective. Even some of the ones I was getting from myself, it was a reminder that you're falling into old thought patterns. Don't do that. You need to change your perspective. And changing your perspective on yourself, again, can be very difficult because you have to own up to the fact that your thought patterns aren't doing you any good. Your perceptions of people aren't doing you good. Your comparisons of people aren't doing you any good. If you go into a store and you see a couple together, no, I'm a bigger girl. I'm a fluffy girl. I'll say it. And I look at a couple and be like, well, she's heavy. He's a good-looking guy. Why can't I find that? That doesn't do me any good. That's a terrible thought pattern. I'm just drawing in more lack. So the best thing I can do is be like, I hope they're happy. I wish them the very best and just go on with life. If they look, it's when you look at couples and you're like, they're genuinely happy together. May that kind of love find me. Mentally wish them the best and then go on. Because that's what you kind of have to do. It's like, God, you bought a new house. God bless you. May it prosper. May you do well. It's beautiful. And then you think to yourself, gee, I hope someday I can do this. I would really like to do this. Or, you know what? It's just right for them. I want something that's more my style. That's fine. You're not comparing. You're just saying like, I would like this someday. This is a desire that I have. And then you just kind of go on with life. But the more love you project out into the world, the more kindness, not only to yourself, to others, it comes back to you. And it starts to show that your perspectives are changing. And you might, job hunting is the most soul sucking thing that anyone has ever done, because you want the job, depending on the job. There are maybe a few hundred applications of other people who also want said job. The company has their own idea of who they want for the job, and only one, maybe two people, depending on the positions, depending on the opening, whatever's going on, is going to get it. And you also have to acknowledge that when you don't get something, you're being protected. You weren't meant to get it. This thing wasn't meant to work out because it's not for you. And in knowing that, then that just means there's something better. So that's a perspective shift. This didn't work out in my favor. I wasn't meant to have it. That's fine. I can move on because something better is coming. Now, it may also be that this is not my, this wasn't meant for me at this time. Because I've had that happen too. I applied to a job, didn't get it the first time. They kept my resume on file and reached out to me 4 months later. And then I was accepted. And in the meantime, I was still hunting for jobs. I was still looking for stuff. So it might be that the answer is not right now. And it was actually a really good thing because a bunch of stuff happened in that 4 or 5 months where everything just went to hell. So just because it's not working out at that time doesn't mean it's not going to. And that is something that you have to shift your perspective on. And shifting your perspective on yourself is going, it's not a perfect art. It's gradual. So it might be like, I look nice. I look nice today. I'm fairly attractive, And then you kind of work your way up the scale going, I'm beautiful. I'm handsome. I am, my favorite thing to say is I am effervescent. I don't know why I started saying that, but it's one of my favorite things to say, and I could just feel myself get all happy and giddy. So you might have a word that does it for you, a descriptive word that just, you say it and you kind of laugh and you're like, yeah, that feels really good. Go with that. But mirror work will help you to do that. So if you need help changing your perspective or you need help trying to love yourself, looking in the mirror, looking yourself in the eyes, because we all use the mirror, but I don't think anyone ever really likes to look themselves in the eye. You always kind of look around yourself or you look at the spot on the wall or whatever. This will help you. This will help you to start verbalizing what you want because you want to say it out loud. Law of attraction works best when you say things out loud. You can say it in your head. And also, if you find you're getting very emotional and very choked up as you say things, that's good. Let the tears out. Let the anger out if it tends to be kind of more anger based. And then what I will ask you to do is ask yourself, why am I having this reaction? And try to follow it down to figure out what is going on. Because once you know what the root cause is, you can start letting that go. You can start letting go of whatever the thought pattern is. This happened recently with the trying to manifest new relationships, friendships, romantic relationship, business partners. Something felt very heavy down the line. Something felt very heavy in the affirmations. And I was like, why? Sometimes they felt really bright, but other times they felt really heavy. And it took me a little bit to figure out events that had happened had triggered old fears, old traumas that I suddenly realized I'm like, oh, I thought I had let those go. I hadn't. Or I had to a degree, and now this was another layer of, okay, we need to do this again. This is a deeper layer now, so this now has to be cleared out. We cleared out some of the surface layers. So as you do this, as you go on your journey, you may find that things that you've thought you've cleared, thought that you've healed, will pop back up. What I want you to do when that happens is take note of how you react, because that's another win. If you're not reacting the same, congratulations. You've grown. You've changed. You are not the person you were a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. You have managed to come at it from a healed and enlightened place. And that is a beautiful thing. I hope this video helps you. I hope something in here resonated enough with you that it brings to light and helps to shift your own perspective on self-love, and that it isn't really a cliche, it's really just choosing yourself and aligning with your highest self and aligning in what is your best interests. So I wish you the very best, my friends. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.